It's here! Captain Marvel is finally here and I cannot be more excited. And after how many years of big blockbuster superhero movies, we finally have one that's scored by a woman. Honestly, when I got back from the cinema, I was just dancing around the room with joy. But big milestones to gender equality aside, is the film and the score by Pinar Toprak actually any good? You're watching Ranger on Screen, and this is the review of Pinar Toprak's score for Captain Marvel. Now, first off, I'm going to try and avoid spoilers as best as I can, but in case you're really worried about it, then turn away now. So Pinar has written a big, expansive, classic, and pretty distinctive score for the superhero film. It definitely continues the recent trend of Marvel scores being particularly notable and distinctive from each other. But I have to say, at first I did find it quite hard to pin down the musical voice of this. I mean, besides the 90s vibe of the pop songs they've thrown in there, I think this was probably a deliberate choice by Pinar. At first in the movie, Carol is completely unsure about who she is and her history, and the music reflects that. And it's only as Carol begins to understand who she really is does the music actually get an idea of who the music is and who Carol is. At times it's a big John Williams-like Star Wars style, other times it's very haunting and choral with voices blending in and out of synths. A really good example of this is in the piece Photos of Us. But with the slow realisation of who Carol and the music is, we don't actually hear the central theme until quite late on in the movie. Not in its big, dramatic original form though. We hear variations of that central theme at other times, like in the piece This Isn't Goodbye, and Toprak varies it beautifully. She really knows how to orchestrate well. But we don't hear it in its full dramatic form until really quite near the end. And I think a lot of the cues actually sound very 90s orchestral Hollywood score inspired actually. Like John Williams and James Horner and Jerry Goldsmith and all those other J's in the 90s. But she does still keep it fairly modern and fresh with synths that you can't quite pin down to the 1990s or the 2010s. And whilst I couldn't exactly figure out what I was hearing, I could definitely hear some non-orchestral, non-synth instruments in there. She also brings some very unique sound design with the piano and the arpeggiators, and her use of synths also feel very orchestral with arpeggiators filling out the chords instead of providing a nice soundscape. The piece Space Turbulence brings some eerie, non-vibrato cellos, almost in a Herman-esque Psycho style. And the piece Hot Pursuit has some brilliant brass parts going full John Williams there. Definitely a hot contender for this year's Best John Williams Impersonation Award. Just kidding. But as I said before, she really knows the orchestra well. I'm pretty sure I heard instruments like the xylophone or marimba. I think I definitely heard some low flutter-tongue flute in there, which, I love! And you can hear that flutter-tongue flute in the piece Finding the Records. And the central theme itself, when you hear it in its big, grand, natural state with the images of Carol as Captain Marvel on the screen, amazing! And it may sound really cheesy, but the fanfare at the heart of this central theme honestly feels like the fanfare that Marvel has been waiting for. It feels like the kind of fanfare you hear at the beginning of a Marvel film where you see all the pictures of the superheroes coming up. Or in this film, pictures of someone else. And it makes sense. I mean, she is Captain Marvel. And if she's going to be leading the way into this next phase, then it kind of makes sense that her theme, her fanfare, should encapsulate it all, really. In the end, this is just a wonderful, big, dramatic, expansive, and distinctive theme, and I'm just so pleased that it's a woman. So I want to know, have you seen Captain Marvel? What did you make of it? What did you make of Pinar Toprak's score? Leave your comments down below, I read all of them. And if you're new here, it would be fantastic to have you subscribe so you can get more behind the scenes stuff, more reviews, and more incredible stories about music and film.